All right, so we are at 1 o'clock right on the button. So we're going to go ahead and get going here. So I want to introduce first, my name is Heather Issing. I work in Louisville, Kentucky for Glance. So I see some very familiar names on the list, and I really want to thank all of you for taking the time to sit through our webinar today. We're very, very excited about this new tool, and we feel like it's going to be a really great benefit to you and your business. So I'm going to introduce to you Jeff Fassett. He is part of Principal Industries, and Jeff and I have been working together for quite some time on Sign Supply Wizard. It has really evolved over the course of the last several years. And this tool is really going to enable you to do some neat things with your organization, be able to have some self-service opportunities to get cost of goods and bill of materials. So Jeff will go through this tool. I'm sure we'll have multiple of these, but please ask questions. We want this to be very helpful to you. So with that, I'm going to go mute and hand this over to Jeff.
Thank you very much, Heather. Thanks everyone for being here. Um, I'm Jeff Fassett, and I manage the some of the software products here at Principal Industries, including all of the Wizard products. So it's been a great pleasure working with Glance as we've developed this product. We're excited to show it to you today. I have a very short PowerPoint, and then we'll go straight into the demonstration. And again, if you have any questions, go ahead and put those into the chat. So here's our short agenda in the PowerPoint. I'll just mention, what is it? What's in it for you? And we'll go into the demo. And during the demo, I'll do a channel letter layout, and I'll do a sign cabinet job. And you can see the whole workflow from beginning to end. So the Glance Sign Supply Wizard, what is it? So it's a number of things. It's hard actually to describe it in just one sort of concise phrase, but it's an online layout and estimation tool for nearly all the job materials needed for a standard channel letter and or sign cabinet job. And Sign Supply Wizard grew out of our easy layout builder um, on the Principal website, which I'm sure some of you have used and do use. And so it evolved beyond just having LEDs and drivers to having, almost all of the other materials that you would need for a job. This online application is integrated on nglance.com so that shops can create a layout, build a complete bill of materials, and purchase those materials directly through the Glance shopping cart. So this is it's a workflow from beginning to end for a job. It's a streamlined, job-focused, one-stop shop application, right, to estimate and order materials. And I think one of the important things to recognize about how we've done this is that being job focused, right? So you're creating a job and you're estimating materials and ordering materials to that job. And as you create that job and add the materials, we have a render of the lettering or a render of the cabinet that updates with the products as you add them. I guess if there is a concise description of this, it would be easy layout builder on steroids. This is the term that we kind of use internally with Principal because it's like easy layout builder, except it does all these other things. So what's in it for you? Why are we doing this? What are the benefits to you? Um, First of all, a streamlined estimating and ordering workflow. Um, you select the products and we do the math, right? So, we're nesting on sheets of acrylic. We're figuring out perimeter for, trim cap and channel letter return, this kind of thing. So, there's a lot that we do that really streamlines that process of creating your job. Um, the products are ordered for the most part from faces to backs. So there's some um, logical organization as you think about the job and all the materials that you need. And I'll show the full list here in a second. We build a complete bill of materials as you add materials to the job. And once you have that BOM and you say, yeah, this is what I want, it goes straight into the Glance shopping cart, right? So you can purchase that right away. You can save it for later. But that's the end point, is that everything goes into the Glance shopping cart. In terms of the second item of what's in it for you, better logistics and cost management. You know, this is more important than ever now, I think, with tariffs and how costs have been going up. And you know, you can really tighten up your estimates with this system. So, you know, we're giving you like trim cap to the second decimal point, right? I mean, it's very specific in terms of the math that we do. Um, Stricter inventory management. So when we calculate quantities in two ways. We calculate the orderable quantity and we calculate the actual usage. And in the little graphic here, it's probably too small really to read, but you can see order quantity here and you can see actual usage here. So, you know, each of those numbers and each of those values is relevant in different ways. Um, so for accurate data for cost accounting, actual usage, right? So what did you actually use on the job? End of the day, you know, did we make money on that job, right? So that cost accounting is important. And even if you're a large shop and you order, you know, materials in large quantities, it's still important that you know what you actually use for a job, right? It's important to know what your inventory levels are, how much of that you used. And so that's what we provide with the actual usage. You know, third point, end of the day, let's win more business. We certainly know within Principal from Easy Layout Builder that you know, the shop that quotes first is more often going to win that job. And so if you think about as we go through the demo, all the steps it takes to do what we're doing and all the back and forth with your Glance rep, you know, the streamlining here, the efficiency of this process, I think can definitely help you win business. And finally, have confidence in your estimates. We actually show the math. So when we say that it's one roll of trim cap, we say it's, you know, it's 78 feet of actual, right? So you know exactly what you're using and what the quantities are. Okay, so that's what's in it for you. As far as the demo, these are, you know, actual Glance products, actual inventory, actual pricing that comes into the cart because our application is embedded within the Glance e-commerce system. All this data is live in real time. The workflow is roughly divided into 4 steps. First, we create the job. Second, we add the products. Third, we view the BOM. And fourth, we add it to the cart. So in the demo, I'm going to do a channel letter layout, and then I'm going to do a sign cabinet layout. And so we're going to create and define those jobs, select, calculate, and add the materials, review the bill of materials, see if we want to make any adjustments, add those products to the cart, as well as create the PDF. So one of our deliverables here is a PDF that will show the visual, will show the bill of materials, provides a little bit more detail about the job, and then that's something that you can download. You know, and then get on with your day, right? This doesn't have to take all day to define this for a job and order these materials. Everybody's busy, so if we can be a little more efficient, then that's good for everyone. My final slide here to get help. So Glance has this email address, sswizard@nglance.com, the Glance 800 number. There's a quick start guide that's up on the landing page for Sign Supply Wizard that I'll show you here in a second. And this is my contact information as well. So multiple resources for you to get help as you learn and use the application. Okay, so if there aren't any questions, I'll go ahead and move on to the demo. And so I'm starting out here on the Glance homepage. And I have my account. So obviously you need an account to access the software. And so I'm going to log in here and remember that when you log in, that you only have about 10 minutes or so of inactivity before you're logged out. That's a rule. because it's an e-commerce system and there's credit cards and things like that. So stay active in the system. If you do get logged out, then we do save the job from the point where you got logged out. So I'm going to click on here on Sign Supply Wizard and the red ribbon here. And this is the landing page that I mentioned. And this is where you can access the site. If you're getting on here for the first time, there'll be a legal statement that you'll agree to, and then you can access the tool. The quick start guide from this link is here. And I definitely encourage you to read it if you're going to use this system and you have some questions about how the system works. This is a good document to have in your back pocket and to read and understand. It'll explain some things in a little bit more detail than I'll be able to go into today. But I'll click on the Sign Supply Wizard link, and that's going to load up right here inside of the Glance site. And this is what it looks like when you first load. And I have a job preview area that's currently empty. I start in step one, which is create job. And the first thing that I do is click on new job. Okay, so it's important in our system that every job has a unique ID number. And because I'm not a real shop, I just type in a bunch of random numbers, and that's my job. This can, of course, be letters and random characters and numbers, anything that you would use to define the job. You'll also notice here that I have letter sets and cabinet sets, and so I can do multiple sets. If it's the exact same letter set or the exact same cabinet, I can do multiple sets, right? And when we do the math, we just roll up those quantities. So the next item to choose is either letters or cabinets. And if you're an easy layout builder, this should look familiar, letters and cabinets. So I'm going to start with letters. And at this point, I'm just defining the job, right? I'm not loading LEDs yet. I'm just defining it. And then in the next step of add products, we'll put all the products on there. We do have the option here of face lit or halo lit. The letter size, the square cap height letter size goes from 8 inches to 96 inches. Again, the can depth also a very wide range, actually from I think 1 inch to 12 inches. 1 inch would be for if you had a very small letter, then you could do a 1 inch depth. I'll do 5 inches. This is our font list. There's about 30 fonts. It's in the quick start guide, the full list, but this is the list of fonts. I'm going to pick my favorite Futura Demi Bold, and then I'm going to type in my text, a little shortcut. It's going to say Sign Supply Wizard. Okay, so once I have that defined, I click on Create, and then up top here, it gives me my preview render. Okay, and again, as I add materials to this, that render is going to update. So that's all I do on the first page. And then I click on add products. You'll notice the help line here, right? So as additional help, as I hover over different buttons and things, this help line is going to explain to me what I can do. All right, so now I'm in add products, and this is where a lot of the work is done in Sign Supply Wizard. So, and this should look, familiar to Glance e-commerce customers. The filtering down the left side is consistent with how the Glance site does filtering. My list of products down here in the middle, but this drop down right here is where we see all the product categories. So when I say that we're calculating and estimating and adding nearly all the job materials, this is what I'm talking about. Okay, so you can scroll through these materials with the arrows, or you can pick them from the list. So I'll go through several of these in the letters layout. I'm going to start with acrylic, and you can go straight to the list and just search down and pick your product. I have 5 pages of acrylic, so I might not want to have to scroll through all those. So I can use the filtering down here on the left side. So for example, if I want to search for Chemcast, and perhaps I want to do for color, I want to do white 2447 because I'm going to put some vinyl on here. And I want my size to be 48 by 96. So I've trimmed this down now, and you'll notice also that I have some favorites. So favorites can be either created directly in Science Supply Wizard by just clicking on the heart, um, and or they can be imported from your existing Glance favorites on the Glance website. So I will choose, well, that's a 73. Oh, these are my fats, a 7328. Um, that's fine. I can choose a 7328. I'll go ahead and do this one here. And this is, I have show calcs on, so it shows me the math and the square footage and all that and says that I need 4 sheets. And then I'm going to click on add. Okay. And when I click on add, that goes into my BOM, and we'll look at that in a second, and it starts to build my render. Okay. So my next category is vinyl. And of course, let's see, there's 76 pages of vinyl. So I certainly want to do a little bit of filtering or select from one of my favorites. And I want to do a color range of purple. Purple is the sort of Science Supply Wizard color. And then I get these products. I do want to filter a little bit further with the width of my cutter, which is 48 inches. And I can also put a little heart right here. And this is an additional filter, which means, only show me 48 inch, right? I'm never going to buy 15 inch or 24 inch. I'm only going to buy 48 inch. And so I can put a little heart there. It's like a second level filter that we call the filter favorites. Okay. So, and now I'm getting, so I have some 50 yard and some 10 yard. I want to do a 50 yard. And if I want to check inventory, no, that one's not coming in. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I scrolled too far down. So when you click on the inventory button, then the inventory pops up for that product. I guess the violet isn't as popular, so there's not inventory. But it's worth saying that we will still enable you to put that order in, even if there's not inventory in the Glance system. And the Glance representative will contact you about what the process would be to order that product. Okay, so which one did I have? This one here. So I'm going to click on calculate. So 11.34 yards, just a little bit more than 10 yard, short 10 yard roll, 50 yard roll, and I'm going to click on add. And remember that in the BOM, we show the actual and we show the orderable. So we'll see there that it's 11 yards. Now my render updates. So I have that purple color on my lettering now. I'm going to just scroll through each category. Obviously, I'm not going to add polycarb because I've already put an acrylic on there. But I just wanted to mention that for polycarbonate, we have both the real stock and the sheets. And so if I pick a real stock and do a calculation, it's just going to give me linear footage. Whereas obviously if I do sheets, it's going to tell me how many sheets. Okay. And similar with flex space material, these generally come on very large rolls. So any calculation here would be by the linear foot. I'll actually do this when we do the cabinet. So now I'm going to go to trim cap, and I like to use a brightly colored trim cap so that I can see it in the render and show it to you. So I'm going to do this yellow, 178 feet of trim cap. So that's going to equate to 2 rolls. So I will add that. And then I'm going to go to my channel letter coil. And so I have a favorite here, and that's my 5.3 inch gloss black from Weiland. And I'm going to click on that. So, and that's the same 178 feet, right? And in terms of how you utilize the filters or not, it really depends on the product category, depends on how many products. It would be pretty easy to to set up your favorites in order to do that. And so now I've added that, and in my render now, I have my face color, I have my trim cap, and I have my black channel letter return. Um, and so that's where we're at with the render. And let me go ahead and move to our LEDs now. So um, again, this is similar, but a little different UI from how we do an Easy Layout Builder. So here's my module series. I can also filter by voltage, and I can filter by color. So this is both color temperature and actual color. I'm going to go ahead and do Prism Synergy Spec 5000K, and I'm going to click on Calc. And so Calc makes the LED layout. It's like populate on Easy Layout, creates the layout, and I can see that. If on any of these products, if I change my mind, I could calc a different product before I add it. So we let you do the layout, do the calculation, and see it before you populate. So 127 modules, that's going to be 2 bags, and add that. And I'm going to go to power supplies. And for power supplies, we have a max driver loading option, right? So we can load our drivers up to 100%, but you might feel more comfortable. Some shops like to do 80 or 90%, and that's fine. So I'll go ahead and let's do a 60-watt Energizer series and see how that comes out. So I'm getting 3 drivers, and I'm up to 80%. And so, if I wanted to load balance this a little bit better, if I said, say, 75%, then I might, whoops, clicked on the wrong button. I went ahead and added them. It's gonna be 3 drivers anyway, but this is a little bit more load balanced, so you can do a little bit of load balancing by adjusting that loading percentage. Let me just take a preview here and make sure. So if not, that has not gone in yet. Get my modules in there, and then get my drivers in there. Jumping ahead to make sure everything's in there. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to continue on, and I'm going to I'll just do a couple more products. I'm going to do my backer. So there's aluminum sheets, and there's also B-bond. So I have my favorite B-bond here, white one-sided. I'm going to calculate that. So this is going to be the same quantity as the face, and that's going to be 4 sheets. Finally, the last thing that I want to add here is my SignComp Raceway. And so there are 4 Raceway bundles that we have in the Glance system. And these raceways have inventory at a handful of the branches. I believe these are where the raceways can be cut. And so in terms of the length of the raceway, so each one is 24 feet. So for this lettering, I would need 2. And so I'm just going to add 2. So this is the first product category where we do a manual calculation because the lettering could, in some cases, be on 2 lines. We don't necessarily know how that quantity of raceways is going to be broken or what the kerning is going to be for the raceways. So we enable you to manually add the quantity here for raceways. Okay, and then we just display it with that gray rectangle behind. All right, so that is those are the products that I wanted to add. And so now I click on View BOM in step 3, and you saw me go in here a couple times to make sure that I got our LEDs and drivers in here. So this BOM is organized by layout type, all letters in this case, the manufacturer of the product category, the product description that comes straight out of the Glance system, the Glance code, and then as I mentioned a couple times, the orderable quantity, and the actual usage, right? And so you can see both of those quantities. Um, and then down here with the SignComp Raceway, there are some accessories. And so you can decide if you want to add those accessories. They're not, I don't think that they're 100% required, but they are optional. And I'm going to add them, all of them. And so this is end caps, and then this is a splice connector for the two raceways to go together. Large clips. So these are 10 per 24-foot section, as are the brackets. And so I'll add those as well. So that just gives you an opportunity. And some products have optional accessories. I'll show that as well in the cabinet with our Signbox 3 product. And so I've added all those in here. So that's my BOM. And I'm now going to add to cart. And as I mentioned before, when I add to cart, there are a couple of things that happen at the same time here. One is that we create this PDF, right? And so the first page has the layout with some stats here, as well as all the supplier partners logos down at the bottom. We have the text details, and then down at the very bottom in the third page, we have the bill of materials. If you can see that, let me zoom in a little bit more on this. A little bit better. And so that's the bill of materials. So in order to save this, I would just click on download the PDF, and then that downloads and pops up here. So you can save this, you can print this, you can email this. Okay, and then back up here at the top right corner, I'm going to click on My Cart. The quantity and the dollar value doesn't come up right away. You have to click on My Cart, and then it brings you into the Glance shopping cart. And this should look very familiar. At this point, we've put all the products in here. If you change your mind and you want to change quantities or remove something in the shopping cart, you can do that. You can also continue to shop on the Glance site and buy other products that are not related to this job, and that's fine too. But I'll scroll down, and I might click on Save for Later. And if I save that for later, so let's say that I'm quoting this job, and I'm going to go ahead and use this to do my quote. I'm going to put that job on hold here, and then I can come back in and I can view it later. And so the Glance system creates an order acknowledgement, and this would all be saved in here. And this is all the stuff. At the same time, in our system, we also save jobs, right? So you could come back into Sign Supply Wizard, and then you could pull up a job and continue going forward on that job. Heather, Jennifer, I think I saw a question. We could take a quick pause here.
Yes, it looks like there's actually a couple,
Okay.
but the most recent one is modifying the spacing for modules. Is
Mhm.
there a way you can do that?
Yeah, so let me just zoom in here. So you can see here, if you've used Easy Layout Builder, you might be familiar with these. These are some of the module editing tools. And so you can click on a module, and you can kind of drag it around. What my color came back on there. You can, for example, insert another module, which I just did with that up arrow. So there's some editing. This isn't LED Wizard 8, which has a ton of tools for this kind of thing, but you can do some basic editing. And then there's another point that I forgot to mention, which is that we do have three different brightness levels. We have standard brightness, HO, and HO plus. And Pat was mentioning here in the chat. Yeah, so if you select a colored acrylic, a polycarb face, or a flex face, we're going to punch it up to HO, and that increases the brightness by about 20 to 25%. And so we're gonna give you more modules in that case. If you select a day, night, or perf final, we go to HO plus and we punch up your layout by like 40 to 50% of brightness, right? We really need to blast out a day, night, or a perf. So those are automatic, and in that case, like this given layout on each of these letters, you might have one or two more modules, right, to increase the brightness.
I think
Uh,
Pat has answered the other questions, so I'd say
Terrific. Okay.
I believe so.
Thank you,
Yep.
Pat.
So I think we keep going, Jeff, and then we'll hit questions at the end too.
Okay, perfect. All right, so uh, I'm going to do a new job, and it's important when you go back to establish a new job. Otherwise, you'll have sort of jobs overlapping, and it won't be clear what's for which job. So when I do the cabinet now, I'm going to do a new job. That being said, you can do letters and cabinets in the same job, so you can have a cabinet and a letter set in the same job. But for simplicity now, I'm showing this as two separate jobs. So in the cabinet interface, even though we say standard cabinets, there are actually quite a few options that you have with designing a cabinet. So we have the height and the width. We have is the cabinet single-sided or double-sided? Do you want the cabinet to be face lit, halo lit, side lit, or hybrid? Um, Hybrid is one inline around the outside of the cabinet and then parallel rows of LEDs or sticks inside of that. Can depth for the cabinet, I'm going to make mine 8 inches, and I'm going to have my orientation of my LEDs to be vertical. The shape options for a cabinet, square, rectangle, triangle, circle, ellipse, and polygon. With all those great options, we see the vast majority of cabinets are rectangles. We have an optional radius on corners. You can rotate the cabinet. So quite a bit of flexibility in cabinets. And but I'm going to do the standard boring 4x8 rectangular cabinet. I'm going to click on Add Products, and the list of products and cabinets is very similar, not exactly the same, but quite similar as it is to letters. But I'm going to go ahead and go straight to a flex face. And this would be a flex face that you would just print on directly. And I'm not an expert on these materials. I'm going to go ahead and just click this Arlon 40. No, I don't want 42 inch, do I? That's not big enough. So let's not do that one. 54 inch is the one I wanted. Um, and so that's going to give me 8 linear feet. And then I'll click on Add. And let's see. We have some accessories. I'm going to go ahead and just go straight to LEDs. So we, as of this second, do not have extrusions in for cabinets. That's going to be added shortly. It's going to be SignComp extrusions. So for now, those would have to be ordered separately. But that is something that we're working on to go in addition to the SignComp raceways. And for LEDs for this, I'm going to use the SignBox 3, SignBox 3 single-sided, and I'm going to click on Calculate for that. So I am in HO mode, as I mentioned before, so this is probably maybe 2 rows tighter of SignBox. And so you can see that they're a little bit closer together than SignBox would normally be. And so that's our HO layout. And I'm going to click on Add. And SignBox also has some accessories, and so that'll be another accessory calculation that we'll see when I get into the BOM. Drivers, let's do a 100-watt driver, and that covers the whole job at 69% load, so that's perfect. Let's add that. And then I'm going to do an aluminum sheet backer, and that'll just be one 4x8 sheet. And again, I'm not taking the time to very much go through all the filtering process, but if you have certain filters and attributes, then it's easy to search for those things. And then I'm going to go to paint. And paint is another one of those categories that has a lot of products in it, 30 pages of paint. And we are not at this point and may not try to estimate the number of gallons of paint that you need. Every paint is different. So this is going to be a manual entry of products. And I just know that I want a white paint. And of course, there are several options. I'll just do this top one for Matthews and add 1 gallon. Now there are some additional, a couple other categories here of products that we also don't do an automatic calculation for. Um, I'll just put in one of our Ventex toggle switches, and the last category here is wire, and so we can do say a 14 gauge, 250 feet of wire. And Page Electric, I'm allowed that. All right, so let's go to View BOM, and here's all my stuff for the cabinet. I mentioned that Signbox 3 has a couple of accessories. So there's a bag of clips and there's a bag of brackets, and so it's going to be 2 bags of each of these, and so I'm going to add those for Signbox 3, and paint toggle switches, wire, and my different items there. So that's my BOM for the cabinet. I'm going to add it to cart. Now I did go into the cart and I saved my job, which means that now when I go back in and put these products, my cart's empty. Had I not done that in the cart, then this job would have added to the existing cart order, and all those products would be in the cart, and that's fine to do too. In fact, you can do a job today, put that stuff in the cart, let that sit until tomorrow, do another job tomorrow, and then order everything out of the cart in one shot, and that's fine to do. Products will be persistent in the cart. So here's my render. Because I'm printing on that face, I didn't have a face color on that. I've got again my logos there of my suppliers, and then here's my bill of materials. All right, and then one more time, I'm going to put these products into the cart, and then you can see everything here. Okay, that is what I had planned for the demo. It looks like we have a little more than 5 minutes left for questions. Heather, Jennifer, I don't know if you wanted to add anything else about on the glance side with the cart or anything about this process, but
Yeah.
that's mostly what I wanted to show.
So I can add just a couple things, and then we can go to questions.
Mhm.
So you do have to be logged into your account. I think Jeff touched on that, but you will have to have your login to get to the inglance.com into our site. If you need to register, we have a link right on our page where you can register for a new account. So if we have any users on here that haven't used our site, that's a great way to get into this. We do have the Sign Supply Wizard on our red bar, so it's very easy for you to access. And in the coming weeks, I'm sure we'll have some additional ways that you can get to that tool as well. So make sure you do that. If you have questions on the Glance e-commerce side of things, we have live chat. You can contact your branch, you can contact your rep. So if you get stuck or have any questions, feel free to reach out. And this is live today. So it was actually live on Monday. So you can get in there and start playing with it. The only risk you have is if you do put it in your cart and you check out, we're going to ship you those items or deliver those items to you, which is not a bad thing in our world, but just be aware, if you put them in your cart and you check out, it is a live order. So I think Jeff showed you that ad or save for later. So that's a great way to put it in your cart, get your cost of goods, see what that project is going to cost you or cost, so you can quote out your customer and you can use that save for later. So that's a really great tool. It sits there. You can either go back to your orders on the Glance side, or I find it a bit easier to actually go back into Sign Supply Wizard and retrieve past jobs. And then you can put it back into your cart. So lots of options there. But you do have to be logged in. You must be logged in. You cannot access the Sign Supply Wizard without being logged into our site. Okay. Okay, so I think it would be great to just open it up to questions. We have a lot of people on here. Let's see.
I know Pat's been answering questions sort of as we've gone, but
There's a
Heather,
few questions. Let's see.
while you go through the questions, there's a couple more things that I can show you. So here's the button to look up your old jobs, and this is on step one, create job. And so here are some of my old jobs, and most of these are test jobs done over the last however many months and years. But this is how you can pull up an old job. You can search by job number or what you typed in or the size of the cabinet or something like that. Um, so that's my jobs. And then there's also this favorites
Yes, the
button.
favorites. Mhm.
And so we had talked about importing your Glance favorites. So here are my favorites that I have listed here. And I also have categories of favorites that I've added through the Glance e-commerce system. And so trim cap is one that I put this morning so that I could have something to import. Um, so when I click on this button, trim cap, it said 3 new favorites added. If there were duplicates, then it would skip them. Um, and so all the way down here at the bottom, these are my 3 favorite trim caps. So if you've gone through the effort to make your favorites on the Glance website, then I highly recommend importing those into Sign Supply Wizard so that you have the same easy access to those products.
Yes, so if there's items you like to stock in your shop, we need to build those in as a favorites on the glance.com site and then import those in, and it will at least give you better visibility, easier visibility on Sign Supply Wizard. Marshall has a question. Is there a way to forward a card to someone else, like a purchasing team? So Marshall, I think what you're asking
Mm.
is, can we maybe have multiple users on the site? So within your site, you definitely can have purchasing users. So we can work through that. They just need to register, or you can reach out to your rep or your branch, and we can get additional users on the team. Jeff, I don't know if you understand that any differently.
Yeah, well, if I'm understanding the question right, it would be, would multiple users with multiple accounts be able to put products into the same cart and then check out? And
Oh, a cart. Forward a
I don't,
cart to someone else.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
I don't know.
So yeah, the cart is, you could add things if you have a login, you could put it in the cart and save it for later, and anyone on your account could grab that cart and put it back into, like, retrieve the cart. So I think there are ways, Marshall, to do that. We would just need to test to make sure we're doing it the way you're kind of hoping to do. Let's see, we have Scott. Let's see. Oh, never mind. That was an internal one. I think Pat got the rest of the questions on here. Do you want to touch on retrofits a little bit? We did have a question on that one. Can you use this for retrofits?
Yeah, so for retrofits, let's say that you didn't need all the products, that you only needed a few of them, then you can do a job that doesn't include everything. I will mention that the face material selection it's designed to select the face first because that will drive that brightness value that I was talking about. But we did add an exception for retrofits for cabinets where if you want to just define the LEDs without defining a face because you're going to use the same face, then that's okay, and you can say I want to do this anyway. So you can do that for a retrofit. But generally, you can have as many or as few products, as you need for a given job.
When do you expect to see the cabinet extrusion and parts go online?
Yeah, I would expect in maybe within 1 to 2 months. And as you guys know, SignComp is a little bit complex. We are in touch with SignComp and the president there to help us to do this. And we want it to be as easy as the rest of the products, where we have bundles and you pick it and everything comes in. And so it's just a little bit of a heavier lift, but we are working on it, and it'll definitely be an upgrade this summer.
And don't forget the raceways are on there. So you all can definitely order your raceways with the accessories and clips like Jeff showed. So we do have that on there.
Yeah.
And there was a question about custom art, Jeff. I know we've talked a little
hmm
bit about that. I don't know
hmm
if you want to touch base on that.
Yeah, custom art, not yet. We are also working on that, and I do expect that'll be in a future update as well. Custom art opens up a whole can of worms that is a challenge for how the system is designed. And again, if you're an LED Wizard user, you know about the tools we have there, and it's a custom art is a bit of a wild card when it comes to the automation that we have on the system, but definitely something we're working on, and I will expect to see this on the site, but not quite yet.
I think that is all. Any other questions that you all have?
I'll add one more point, Heather. So
Sure.
this is not designed for the Glance mobile app. We have not shrunk this down to fit on a phone yet. So if you're going to use this system, it's going to be on your computer. Don't try to do it on your phone.
Yeah, and we would love to hear your feedback. So our teams here, both at Glance and at Principal, have been trained on this. We have some users that have been using this and testing with us for a while. But if you do get in there and you have questions or feedback, whether it's great feedback, which we always love to hear, or you have suggestions for improvement, please make sure you get those over to us. We really want to hear from you all to make this a very worthwhile tool for you. Okay,
Absolutely.
all right.
Well,
Well,
if that's it, I just want to thank everyone. Go in here and give this a whirl and let us know if there's anything we can do to improve it beyond what we've already talked about. Certainly, we have a number of things in the queue, and we appreciate your support and have a great rest of the day. Thank you.
yep, awesome. Thanks all. Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.